Gojo was fucking snubbed, my man. Welcome to We Hate JJK podcast. I'm the person who hates the girl characters of JJK, Annie. Ooh.
Shouldn't you have said you're the one who hasn't actually read the manga, but I have? I'm Minty.
And it's FunUntitled where we say F you to Minty, of all people.
You say that every time I call you out for not reading or watching something.
So, one of the biggest overhyped anime manga just ended. Jujutsu Kaisen, aka Sorcerer Battles. No one calls it that.
No, why would you? 4 years ago when we started this channel, one of the first episodes we did was Jujutsu Kaisen. We call it a half review for whatever reason.
Probably because only half of us watched it.
It could be. True, Reddit.
You leave Reddit out of this.
So I guess I've been reading it for like 4 years now, and I've never liked the series starting with the Shibuya arc, and it's just really gone downhill with that. And I will say the anime is okay because the animation is pretty good, and they cut out a lot of the talking, and they really like embellish the fights.
My interpretation of JJK is a man who made a lot of OCs and said, well, you're gonna see all these OCs, and went, oh shit, I don't know what to do with all these OCs. The series became too big.
This is what I think, and this is what I think will help you. I think Jujutsu Kaisen wanted to be Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, I never saw it like that.
Okay, because so, if you're anime watchers, you've probably seen season 2, Gojo gets captured, and you're like, we haven't finished season 2, because I can't stand watching the anime, even if the animations are pretty good. Gojo gets captured, and you kind of think to yourself, okay, so writing-wise, you'd only do this if you want the enemies to do something big. Now they captured Gojo, but they don't. They go into this whole new arc called Culling Game, and there's so much goddamn talking. Now, when you read Hunter x Hunter, there's so much goddamn talking, and no arc really connects to the other. It's really just like character development here, then here, and they're all like separate events. But it doesn't work in Jujutsu Kaisen because you shouldn't have let Gojo get captured then, because it feels like the obvious next step would be to save Gojo. But no, what they do is they go into the fucking Culling Game to save Megumi's sister, and you introduce new character after new character, then kill one character. There's so many fucking rules. They spend like 3 chapters explaining 10 rules of the Culling Game because Jujutsu Kaisen talks in circles. So they keep talking about the same fucking shit. That's not what they do in Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter makes sense for the most part. I will say sometimes you're reading it's like, what? You have to read it a second time, then it makes sense.
Oh, that last cycle on the cruise ship.
The cruise ship arc is...
That feels like a, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Not only that, but there's so many fractions, and you're like, which faction are you part of? At least Jujutsu Kaisen, there's only 2 fractions.
We saw fan art of these 3 characters on the cruise ship on Hunter x Hunter, and I asked Minty straight up, what was any of their powers? And Minty was like, I don't know, but that one has an IV bag, so it has to be with blood, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, what was that guy's power again? It's like, he had the pachinko powers, obviously.
Pachinko powers suck. You know what? I'm glad you brought him up. He is a good example of how the creator thought of this quote-unquote cool power and did so much explanation for it, but it was really just bullshit, and you don't really see him fight, because a lot of times it's like, when you play pachinko, you can, you know, it's a gambling, so sometimes you can get super rare events, and oh my god, in this one instance, he hits the super rare event. Well, now he's gotta go through another set of gambling and hit the ultra lucky event. Oh my god, he hit the ultra, like, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed that he hit these events, because I've never seen him fail by getting like a bad event.
Hey, you talked to me about that. It's something I did. Look, I watched the Jujutsu Kaisen anime. I don't fully understand it. I'm just in the moment. But like, you talked about like the sorcerers has ability to put limits on themselves in order to grow stronger, but it doesn't really work out well because the limits they put on themselves isn't really inhibiting.
Yes, that is another example. So what Annie's talked about is like, a lot of times a character will go, I want my move to be super powerful, so I'm going to put a binding vow. By putting a binding vow, it makes my powers stronger because I limit myself in another way. But you've never seen, like if, okay, a good example is Kurapika, right? Another Hunter example, right? So it's like, Kurapika cannot use
his 5th finger on anyone not a spider.
I don't think he can use the chains, right?
Well, he uses the chains a little bit on the cruise ship. Remember, like, he has one of the chains steals Nen, and that's how he got that dolphin.
I think the dolphin is Emperor's time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna win this fight of what can Kurapika do.
Okay, one of his abilities he can only use on the spiders. And that makes sense because you see him fight Uvo, but when he fights other people, you never see him use it. So that's an obvious limitation in how that affects him. But with characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, just let's not waste these pages and panels of talking about a limit that plays no role. Like, just have them do the move. Because it There's so much goddamn talking in Jujutsu Kaisen. If you read the recent chapters of Hunter x Hunter, it's not that bad, but it's pretty bad.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, can you hone what your powers is? Or did this innocent boy all of a sudden got pachinko powers and he had to figure out the rules real quick?
They do not explain how most characters get their powers. I don't think they really explain any of them except like family ties, because Megumi's part of the family that can do the 10 shadows, which is, I don't know if that's related to the Fushiguro family or the Zenin family.
That did also disappoint me when you said that the head family, these three main family, Gojo, Zenin, Fushiguro, whatever, they hype it up, but they don't actually play a role.
They don't. And
like in Naruto, the Uchiha and Hyugas, they're one of the powerful clans, and we understand that, we know that, we see that.
they have a third one.
It's the fatties, right?
Yes, the Akimichis.
They didn't explore that at all.
Not at all. Like, you think it's the Naras and the Yamanakas, but nope, it's the Akimichis.
I believe the Aburames are also kind of important.
They are. They're a pretty big fan, but I don't think they're considered like the big three. I digress, right? So, anyways, so the powers and the characters of Jujutsu Kaisen are really fucking bad. And there's like an interview with the creator being like, I only kill people off if I think like it's gonna matter to the readers. I'm like, A, yeah, no shit, that's what everybody fucking does. And B, no, you don't. Because most of the characters who are dead, I couldn't give a shit about. I like Nanami, but I didn't like Nanami that much.
I mean, let's go to the final arc. How is that when everyone who sticks around to read Jujutsu Kaisen are Jujutsu Kaisen cocksuckers, right?
Right.
So you're only gonna hear people say good things about the newest chapters.
Right.
So I only hear bad things from you because I don't go out and look for hate. And also I think you get persecuted online if you say hate about JJK since it's such a big series.
And I don't think it's necessary either to shit on anything, really.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort to actually shit on something. Who has the time, right? But the last battle with Sukuna was a bunch of characters just going up for a chapter and then dying, correct?
Okay, just to backtrack a little bit. I think most people do agree that Culling Game is a really bad arc.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of people end up dropping off at Culling Game because there's way more talking than there is action. So what ends up happening is that the creator decides to jump the shark. And that is by bringing Gojo back through bullshit methods. Again, Culling Game had nothing to do with saving Gojo. Gojo's little box thing was in the Marina Trench for some godly reason. So they bring Gojo, right? And I think the fight between Gojo and Sukuna is the epitome example of what is the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, in which I mean the story is a good concept, but it's executed so badly. Because the fight with Sukuna and Gojo, it's hyped up to be the best modern sorcerer versus history's worst curse. And it becomes a battle of repetition and attrition. They had some cool moments, but if you read Sakamoto Days, you see that, but better. Big, building, crushing scenes, but Sakamoto does it so much better with the old man and the sword. So if you read that fight, you'll see why Jujutsu Kaisen is just bad. So it was agreed upon that once Gojo died, then everyone else was allowed to go in. And they never made a plan for what happens if Gojo loses. Because how could you predict that Gojo was gonna lose? Was it because he has no plot armor? Because he's not the main character? Because Yuji would have to be the one to take down Sukuna for this to be I guess a traditional shonen manga?
No. You said shoujo. I'm interested in this version of JJK now.
It would have been much more interesting if they just kiss, fall in love, right?
Do you think actual fans call it JJK or they always gotta pronounce it Jujutsu Kaisen?
I don't know. At first, I thought it was weird when people just say JJK, but now I find myself just saying JJK. I think it's just because, again, I just can't stand this series.
So you don't want to put respect in that name.
It's like, call me Mikey. I'll call you Michael. So, and I was talking to someone about how, this whole fight with Sukuna and everybody is the same as the Shibuya arc in that you keep introducing new characters, new powers, but then it fizzles out. And, within one chapter, the characters introduced, talk way too much about the powers, and they die because they're useless. They go through so many goddamn characters. They fuck up Maki's storyline. They really just fucked it up. They had this cool thing where she defeats the Zenin family, and they do a bullshit training arc, and she does nothing in the end. I'm surprised she's even alive.
I feel like no one has a satisfying character like in Jujutsu Kaisen.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, because Megumi sure as hell doesn't.
Nope.
Yuji has, I would assume, a bullshit one. Nobua is non-existent. She was gone for most of the series.
So here's the last thing, right? Yuji had no way in hell of defeating Sukuna. And they did this bullshit of Sukuna's been in your body for so long that your body just knows how to do these other skills. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? it's not even Sukuna's skills. It's other people's skills he can use. So,
Like Yuta?
Yuji.
No, but Yuji has other people's skills he can use.
Not
But Yuta can also use other people's skills.
not like copy.
Okay.
If that's even no. He literally learned how to do their skills.
Okay.
While Yuta just like his ability is copy.
So Yuji kind of copies taijutsu, but
No.
Okay.
He actually does I forget what you call them. Techniques
Oh.
of other people. And it's like dissemble. And I'm like, whose move is this?
Yeah, Inumaki?
I have no idea. It's like this weird like scissors with dotted lines and it can cut. I'm like, I don't remember who fucking ability this is. Okay, surprisingly, Jujutsu Kaisen does a lot of talking, but they don't backtrack to remind you of important information before they continue talking. So like I don't know. And I think he can do the blood piercing. That I remember he learned
From my boy, the Kyoto archer?
Yes, he taught him.
Oh, okay.
Like,
You can teach them techniques? I thought it was a family thing.
Don't look at me like I'm
Okay.
supposed to know. All I remember was he taught him that, and then he says, I'm leaving.
Why did the Ace Attorney man teach Yuji the soul swapping technique?
Did he to Yuji?
Yeah, because like right before the battle, when like they're hyping it up, I know that was one of the panels, and then people were like, "This is gonna come in clutch. Like he's gonna switch with Megami eventually."
I don't know. He never did anything. He never did anything.
Well,
I think the lawyer guy survives, but the lawyer guy is so fucking useless.
doesn't it suck though that you kill off only characters that will create a visceral reaction in your readers, so at the end you're only stuck with the characters whose death didn't even no one gives a shit about?
I never thought about that way. You're just left with the shitty characters.
Yes, actually. See, okay, my thing is that I forget what the creator's name. I think is Gage.
Gege Atsumu, I want to say.
And when the series was ending, I did see a lot of people coming up with theories of like why JJK was terrible, and one of them was just a lot of second guessing his own ideas. Like in the beginning, he didn't want it in a school; he wanted a dojo in the mountains. But the editor's like, no one's gonna want to read that. You gotta put it in a school, man. And then he wanted to switch out Yuji with Utah, but he was like, no, if I change the main character, people might not read it anymore. And I'm like, my dude, I would love for you to just get free reign here, because none of this was it. You trying to satisfy everyone by bringing back all these characters. Like, he definitely got cancelled, right?
Yes. Okay. In 2023, you knew the series was going to end in 2024. But why did it take 9 months of 2024 for it to end? Hell, a year from when it was said to be ending. And I think the problem with Jujutsu Kaisen was when he jumped the shark. When you had the whole Gojo fight, that was your epitome. There was nothing that was gonna really surpass that. Because the way it ends, I thought Megami died. Because there's a scene where Yuji goes into Megami's mind and he finds Megami. And Megami is just like, I didn't save my sister. I just want to die. And Yuji said, okay, I can't tell you to live. And I figured that just meant Megami's dead because Megami basically gave up. But he's alive. Should we have said manga spoilers?
I get it.
It's pretty much obvious. It's in the
Megami is
title.
the most whiny Sasuke clone that ever existed. He was cool in the I thought he was cool up to the moment where he did a domain expansion. Then after that, I honestly stopped giving a shit about him.
I think because you want some structure with his powers, and they never really gave it to you.
Another thing I would like is, I don't know, a clear escalation. You can't go from, I can summon 2 dogs, I can summon frogs, I can summon rabbits, I can summon this devil? I have no idea where the fuck that came from. It would have helped if JJK had proper training arcs. But instead, he just learns how to use weapons from Maki once, and then after that, it's like, fuck it.
Who learned weapons?
Yuji?
Megami.
He got that knife.
Oh, I guess so.
And then Maki's like, you cocky bastard.
Megami's an interesting character, right? I think he wanted so much for Megami, and he set up so much too. Because again,
Sukuna was in love with him. That's why the kiss, fall in love.
Yeah, I never realized why that was it. But also, they made him become the next head of the Zenin family, which made no sense whatsoever why anyone would make him the next Zenin.
Maki's just like, have fun, you empty throne. Killed everyone.
Because, okay, I think his dad, Toji, was part of the Zenin family. Then he married Fushiguro and took her last name. Then he sold Megami to the Zenin family, but the Zenin family let him keep his mom's name. That makes no sense. And I think because he's the 10 shadow user, that's why he gets to become the leader. But they already had someone set up, and that's why he was very mad at Maki and Mai.
Why?
I don't really know. Nobody in the Zenin family likes Maki and Mai because they both can't do curse energy fully and completely, right? So then Maki says, I'm leaving the family and I'm gonna become a sorcerer. And they told Mai, because Maki left to become a sorcerer, you have to go and be a sorcerer. Why does that make sense? I don't know. And then after the whole Shibuya arc, they get taken back by the Zenin family and they said, okay, you're gonna go in here and you're basically gonna die. And then Mai sacrificed herself for Maki, then Maki kills the whole family. I did like that scene. That scene was very cool.
The destroy everything. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Maki's a good character.
No. I told you they ruined her character.
Alright, my bad. So there's some characters on this list that we haven't talked about. Like, what the fuck was Geto and the Funny Man? Why were they the only one who got like a real happy ending? Wasn't Geto a pusher?
A small team split off to fight Geto. Comedy Man was one of them. They went through this whole mental battle of taking turns of what the scenario was happening. And Geto really liked comedy. So he wished that if he was in another lifetime, I guess he could do comedy. And that's when Yuta comes and kills Geto.
Oh.
But then for some reason, Geto's alive.
Because Comedy Man said, wouldn't it be really funny if he was still alive? And it happened. Because Comedy Man's whole stick is that he can make anything come true as long as he thinks it's funny, right? So technically, he's stronger than Gojo.
That's fucking stupid. That's so goddamn stupid. Also, let's talk about Yuta. Because I think in the end, I still like Nobara, but Yuta's one of my favorite characters. They do this fucking stupid thing where they put Yuta in Gojo's body. And it was like, for what?
Now, I have a question. If Yuta was the main character who went inside Gojo's body and defeated Sukuna, would that have been a better ending in your opinion?
No.
Okay.
If Jujutsu Kaisen had to end in a way, I wish it ended the way Naruto did, where only the main four comes together to defeat Sukuna. Because in the end, it was Nobara who defeated Sukuna.
How did Nobara defeat him?
There was one last finger that the school held. And this is the thing with Jujutsu Kaisen, you never count the fingers. At first you do, because it was easy, right? One arc was like 1 or 2 fingers. Then there's a scene in season 2, in the Shibuya arc, where the 2 girls feed a bunch of fingers to Yuji, and you don't know how many fingers. So you never know how many fingers are left, right? But there was 1 finger in the school. And Nobara, because she has resonance, right? So she doesn't need the main body to attack it. She attacks the finger from the school, and it defeats Sukuna. Technically, Yuji defeated Sukuna in a weakened state. But all you needed was fucking Nobara! You killed her for like 2 years! You made her death official! But because you got cancelled, you jumped the shark, and you didn't know how to end it, you fucking brought Nobara back to end a fight. And that was so goddamn stupid. Why did you not give Yuji Sukuna powers if the whole fucking excuse was that Sukuna was in his body, and that's why Yuji's good at being a cursed user? So the battle's over, right? And would this be how you spend your last 3 fucking chapters? Third to the last. All the regrets that everyone had when fighting Sukuna. All the things they could have done differently. And then Mei finds the leader of a shadow clan that they've never talked about before. Penultimate chapter. The aftermath of the culling game that we never asked for. Now the whole Mei story, they ended there. What was the point of introducing this new shadow clan? I don't know. Why did Mei have to find it? I don't know. It was just them all saying goodbye. And then the very last chapter, they do this in the last 2 chapters. They have one last case together. The last chapter, the Megumi, Nobara, and Yuji that you almost never see together. I feel like maybe the Kyoto arc at the very beginning was the last time you really ever see the 3 of them together. Because they're not together in Shibuya. Nobara's dead in Culling Game, and Megumi's body gets taken over by Sukuna. So for some reason, these 3 best friends take on one last case, and I'm like, who's even in charge? The principal's dead.
The principal dies?
There's this whole thing where the principal... I didn't understand this. You remember the star vessel, that little girl in the
Yes.
in the flashback? Something about he merges with the star vessel, which makes no sense because I thought her death meant they couldn't do it anymore. So he becomes this being, and for some reason Geto killed him. You want to talk about a scene with a lot of talking? That's a scene with a lot of talking. That's the fight I think is why some people ship Choso with Toro Sensei. They have a fight there. I forget what the powers is. It's okay. It's kind of cool, I think. I don't actually remember it, so I can't tell you for sure if it was cool. I think she dies, and Choso lives because he fights Sukuna.
And then he dies, and then Yuji's like, no, we were brothers. And it's like, you guys actually, like, I thought you were using him.
I think you see a little bit in season 2, but for some reason, they're technically half brothers. Technically, because Yuji is the reincarnation of Sukuna, which makes no sense to me if Sukuna's alive. And the curse that's inside Geto was inside Yuji's mom.
Ew.
So that curse is Yuji's mom, but Choso's dad.
Gross.
Yes. So the last chapter, they do one last case, and Yuji's having this flashback of Gojo being like, the next generation will surpass surpass me. Yuji, I believe that you will be the one to surpass me. And I'm like, Gojo, the one thing people don't shut up about is that you're limitless and your 6 eyes makes you the most powerful person in the entire fucking history of mankind. And Yuji doesn't have his own curse ability. How can he be that fucking special? And he
You are
didn't.
my special.
So why does Yuji get to be told that he can be better than Gojo? I don't even fucking like Gojo. But it doesn't make sense to me that Yuji has the potential to be better than Gojo.
Hey y'all, Gojo's my favorite character. Just know
Makes
it's
no
trust it here.
fucking sense. Okay, because honestly, Gojo doesn't do shit. He does not teach the 3 kids.
taught Yuji some shit.
He was supposedly Megumi's father figure, but they never go into real depth of what Gojo did for Megumi. And even the fight with Sukuna made no sense, was not needed, okay? So Jujutsu Kaisen, I've always said I think it has good concepts in a sense, because I kind of liked the beginning, and I thought like it was gonna go somewhere. And I've only read it because Shonen Jump wanted to make it the next big thing, which I guess technically they did succeed in, but it was really the animation and not the manga. So I just think it seemed like it was good. It seemed like it had potential, but the execution is just so bad. And I've always said I wish the horror elements was stronger. I wish it was more graphically gory or something, because they had Mahito, who was all about body deformation, and I'm like there's so many more series that's just more gorier, you know, like Attack on Titan. Even the Dandadan I feel like is scarier than Jujutsu Kaisen.
That reminds me. Am I gonna see what happens to Mahito at the end of season 2?
You should,
Oh,
because I think he dies in Shibuya.
our Crunchyroll account got X-nayed in the middle of watching JJK season 2.
We'll have a separate episode for season 2.
But yeah, overall, I think it's very unfortunate. I know there's a lot of memes like, oh, Gage Sensei didn't want to go on, but Horikoshi Sensei, the author of My Hero Academia, that's why like, he fizzled out and stopped making JJK.
No, these theories are stupid.
Well, this is a joke, right? Because like they're gay lovers or whatever. But I'm like, how did My Hero Academia do such a good 5-chapter epilogue and JJK fumbled so hard?
Because he got axed. Because he didn't know how to write a story.
And with that, we'll see you next time for season 2 of Shibuya. Like, well, I don't know, we'll complain more.
I can't believe I still gotta watch it.